FX Impact Titanium Barrel Mod. In the kit, you're going to get a 700 or 600 or a 380 for the Dreamline, 300. I think I have 350s also. But you're going to get your barrel. I'm going to say start here and pull. Piece of tape. In here is going to have your schematic from FX. You're also going to have a spare O-ring just in case you toast this one that's in there, plus your O-ring silicone grease on a Q-tip. Plenty in there, so don't have to use it sparingly. And I've already got one opened up, ready to go. This one's going out to Dubai. Okay, so tools you're going to need: a torch or a torch lighter, metric hex keys. In this case, we just need one, which is a 3 for that. Either an adjustable wrench or the actual one for the plug on the end of your barrel. And I like to use a set of vice grips and oven mitt. So step one, I like to just remove the suppressor, make the barrel a little easier to manage. I've pre-loosened everything on this, so you might run into some issues, or not issues per se, but you might run into some tightness that you need to work out. On the end of mine, I have the DonnyFL adapter that's on my shroud pretty good. But again, I just unscrew my plug, or my grub screw, pull the stock barrel kit out, and just quickly, this is the FX Impact X with the power plenum kit, and internal has the Slug kit. I shoot a 30, so I don't have the pellet probe installed, but it works. Okay, next step. The way that I did this initially to get the shroud off, I gripped this as hard as I could, and I just kept in jerking motions unscrewing this the first time to get it loose. Since then, obviously, it's much easier to do, and all I have to do is just untwist it. But you might need to stick it in a vise, piece of rubber, vice grips, or adjustable wrench. But I didn't have any major issues with my shroud. A couple jerking motions, I was able to remove the shroud first time, no problem. Again, on this, you've got the DonnyFL adapter. All this is loose right now. So to start, you want to get your plug out. Plug. This is the old style, does not have the dual O-rings inside. No O-rings at all in that one. You pull your liner out. You should have your O-rings on here. Again, for demonstration purposes, I left mine off. Now, to remove this end, you want to take a torch, and you don't have to use an oven mitt. I just recommend putting it on, obviously, holding it, heating up. You wait till you just want to rotate it a little bit. This is the way that I did it. First thing, you take off all your O-rings. I have 2 on this one and 1 right there off my transfer port. I did not bring out my tool for it. You can use a knife, not recommended. The best way I found is you pinch the sides and push up. That leaves enough gap for the O-ring. Then you can just work them off. So there's 1, There's 2 in my case for that specific spot. Now the back one's a little harder, but can still be done in the same manner. So again, I'm pushing, it creates a little bit of slack, enough to get my fingers in there to work it off. All right, now internal of this, you have your transfer port, and then you have this adapter piece. There's one O-ring right in here. I've toasted the first one and never one after that, was just too much heat. So the amount of heat that I apply is this. Okay, just enough. And then you can see it's smoking a little bit. Just enough to break the LocTight. It should come off fairly easily. Now you can see it does change the color just slightly. Okay. You also have an O-ring in the back of your transfer port in here. I generally don't heat it up enough to break that, but you would just take your new barrel liner, or excuse me, barrel carrier, and you're going to have M13 by 1 on one end, and you're going to have 1/2 inch 20 on the opposite end. By looking at it, you'll see one is a finer thread than the other, and it should screw on very, very, very easily. Just thread right in. If it doesn't, don't force it. You could have stuck it in the wrong end. Again, I'll put it in the wrong end. You can see it might thread one thread, but it does not go. Putting it in the proper end. If you're worried about toasting that O-ring in there, you swap out with the one that I provide in the kit. Drop a LocTight, black LocTight, not the 545. I think it's a 440 or something. I'll have to double check. But screw it on. With the LocTight in there, drop a LocTight. It'll be more than sufficient. It'll set up nice. Then you take, if it's a 600, you just take your 600, drop it back in. If you're updating to the 700, which I have a 700 Superior here in 30, take that, put on your O-rings from your original barrel, your 3 O-rings, or if you're doing the carbon fiber stiffener. And when you get to there, what I do is I twist to get past that O-ring so I'm not pinching it. Then your end cap, tighten it by hand. Once you're there, just a quick turn. Place your O-rings. I put them back on in reverse order. So the first one closest to me I put on so the other O-rings don't fall back in. So there's one, and these 2 I just put on together. Again, add a little silicone grease to these, and on the inside it'll help with assembly. You've got your full liner set up now with your titanium. Let me move this stuff out of the way. Just put this back. Now, it will look a little silly if you decide to go back to your 600 shroud, or the shroud from your 600. There's a 100mm difference overall length, so you will end up with a spacing here. Personally, I shoot mine with an Emperor without this shroud right now, but I'm also making these shrouds in titanium, and those will be ready next week. So you want to make sure your notch is at the bottom and lined up. As you push through everything, I turn it to the side to see where I'm at, and then I just turn it straight down, and normally I slide right in. Perfect. I always like to make sure that one, I'm on safe, and two, that I've relieved any additional pressure that might be built up in the cocking block. So I just leave it loose. Now again, it's on safe. You can see it's seated right here. Take your 3 mil again. You want to make sure always, I'll put mine on fire. It is at lower pressure right now, but you want to make sure that you're not pushing it too far back so that your magazine doesn't seat in there. And with mine, it's hard to tell, but I have to readjust my transfer port, or my probe, but you can feel mine sticks out a little further than it should. So when I load my magazine, I push back farther, just on where I was aligning my transfer port holes. But again, now trigger and safely decocked. Okay, so to show you what I was talking about, let me just take this off because some of you folks with the newer... Alright, so now just make sure you're tightening up your barrel, it's seated properly. 3 millimeter Allen key there. Shroud, I'll show you what it looks like on here. Again, I don't run one on mine, but I will be using a titanium one soon. But as you can see, not hateful, but that's just, you've got a significant gap. And then of course, suppressor or suppressor, Shogun or Emperor. But again, I run mine without. I keep turning mine like this as I have my shroud apart. Whatever. Again, I'm working on the shroud right now. Still, there's O-rings in this end, silicone grease if you're going to put it back on. In this end, I'll just show you guys. You've got your 1/2" 20, your M26 by 1.5, and then the new one looks like this except it's shorter. This is with the Donny adapter on it. It's M20 by 1 under this. But again, I run either my Shogun or keep doing this off the table, or I run my Emperor. And there's that. Just some other quick notes on this. I put a full titanium screw kit on this gun, so all the screws, internal, external, everywhere, are full titanium on this to match the gun. Titanium everything. And that's just how you do it. That's how you swap. Saber Tactical product, Atlas product, DonnyFL product. Yep, that's it.